Good morning, Mzansi. Prem Namaste and Vanakkam from me, Alisha Gayapasad and the Sadhana team. Yes, it's a brand new season and a fresh new look to Sadhana. In this series, we continue to enhance your Eastern experience with our trials from home and abroad. Now, I am an enthusiastic, motivated individual with a passion to succeed. I have been an ardent fan of sadhana as I have grown up watching this program. My beliefs tie in with the famous quote, "Put your heart, soul and mind into everything as this results in success." For the commencement of the season, we sit in conversation with the spiritual head of the Arya Samaj South Africa. Moving on to tantalize your taste buds with the softened cooking by Radhika Gounden, and later taking you through two important occasions known as Ekadasi and Kavady. Having completed his Vedic studies in India, for many years as a youth, Swamiji was inspired by the teachings of Maharishi Dayanand Saraswati. Early on in his life, Swami Vedanand Saraswati was chosen to serve as the spiritual head of the Arya Samaj South Africa. He went on to help drive all the projects of the Sabha as well as embark on new ones. Swamiji remains committed to the social welfare and spiritual education of the people by promoting the Vedic value system and spreading the knowledge of the Vedas to all. Namaste, Swamiji.
Namaste, Alisha.
A very, very warm welcome to Sadhana, the Inward Path.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here.
Oh, you're most welcome. Now, Swamiji, please enlighten us about yourself, who you are.
Oh, well, a humble sannyasi, servant of humanity. As much as now and again, the image of sannyasi is always taken as one who is either in deep sadhana or one whom you take your blessings from. But I like to believe that in my practice of sannyas at least, is to serve with the people on the ground, not just to sit quietly in sadhana. Those personal practices are done. But my divine passion, if I can call it that, and the inner light which keeps me motivated and going every day towards union with the Almighty, is by being able to serve humanity in every respect, both uplift humanity spiritually, but also to be able to serve with the challenges that our people and our communities face on a daily basis.
Now, Swamiji, you mentioned you've been away from South Africa itself in India for
5 years.
5 years.
Yes.
5 years is a very long time, hey, to be away from South Africa and what you have grown up with.
Absolutely. You can imagine coming from a family-oriented life, in living in Durban and Petermaritzburg, and in an Indian community here, you're very much family-oriented. So it was difficult in the beginning.
Yeah.
But it shows to what extent the practices allow for that detachment process to take place. Because without that, Alisha, taking this step is the most difficult. Remember, sannyas is an irrevocable vow. You're literally performing your own antyesti, you're giving yourself to the fire, and a new identity is being born. So it needs the time. Your brain literally needs to unwind, literally mind needs to break to be rebuilt into this new phase of spiritual understanding.
And being in India for 5 years, how was your experience there? How was your spiritual experience there?
Alisha, I wish I had the words, but for one to really understand the essence of life without taking things for granted. We are in and I'm using inverted commas, call it a Western sort of civilization, a Western sort of lifestyle here in South Africa. We take a lot of things for granted. Going to India, really, a lot of people will just look at the negative aspects with the poverty and things like that. If you really want to come out of your comfort zone and go into a land and a community that does not take, they don't take things for granted. Everything is not a right but a privilege. A smile on the face of somebody who doesn't know where the next grain of rice is coming from, yet has this firm faith in God Almighty. The appreciation of knowing what every single drop of water means. It's the simple things in life, taking you back to your roots, that make you realize the true essence of what it is to be a human being, realize humanity and realize divinity and spirituality. That is why India is the birthplace of Indian spirituality, because it takes you back to your roots.
In this technology advanced world, the Arya Samaj has moved to online media. So please, Swamiji, enlighten us about this.
So before, Alicia, as you'd know, pre-COVID, a lot of the ceremonies or functions or festivals would be held at the mandir. You'd get just the attendance coming there, and that was that. But one thing that COVID has taught us, beside many other important factors, is the benefit of technology and taking things online.
Yes, that's true.
In this way, we have now committed to embark on taking the Samaj online through social media, through various other forms of media, to reach a larger amount of people and giving them a sense of identity and connecting them back to Dharma.
That's so true. Technology has proven to be so beneficial these days in this difficult times as well. And to conclude, it's so inspirational to many people, especially the youth out there, that you are of such a young age as a Swamiji. So what guidance can you provide to the youth to guide them in the right path?
So firstly, I think one thing that it proves, me being the age that I am as a sannyasi, is that the age-old tradition of sannyasi is not dead, it's very much alive. But I think most importantly, Alicia, is that our youth, we always say the youth are our future, but we don't understand most of the time what that really means and the vision that the youth have. I've committed 2 years ago, when I came back to the country and to the Arya Samaj, to work with the youth, to be able to nurture them, and realized whilst working with them, Alicia, that their passion lies in serving without boundaries and without borders. Now, before, in the past, we were in our little pockets, if I could say. As organizations, we worked in isolation. As communities, we worked in isolation. The youth don't do that. And that is a beautiful thing, because what is the essence of our scripture? Vasudeva Kutumbakam. The whole world is a family. And the youth see that. The youth recognize it. They work with each other. They work in serving the community, taking the values, those fundamental human values, out in practical form to the community without having those divisions in mind. And we need to nurture that. We need to support that and motivate that, because COVID doesn't attack a particular community. The challenges we face as communities don't discriminate between Indian, white, colored, or whatever, or between the language you speak. And the fact that our youth can recognize the oneness of us all, if we cultivate that, if we mold that, we'll find that the community that we will raise, the generation we will raise, is that of oneness. That alleviates so much of problems that we face today, from racism, from disunity, from creating barriers. The youth are the answer, because their mindset sees beyond caste, color, or creed. I've committed myself to working with them, to reinstilling the true essence of Dharma, sense of true human identity with them, and take it forward for a better generation coming.
From the Sadhana team, Swamiji, I would like to say thank you so much for your time and sitting with us in conversation.
Alicia, it's an honor and a blessing for me to be here. Thank you very much, and my blessing to each and every one of you.
Thank you. Namaste, Swamiji. Welcome back to Sadhana. If you talk about food just as much as you eat, you're in good company. There is no better way to enjoy the reward of our land, to consume the harvest from our benign Mother Nature. The Hindu scriptures timelessly populated a vegetarian diet, and with us today we have Radhika Gounden, who is going to be sharing with us some delightful vegetarian recipes.
Hare Krishna, Namaste, Vanakkam, Sai Ram, and Jai Gurudev. Welcome to Conscious Cooking. I'm your cook for today, Radhika. Like most mums today, we all are juggling a hectic career and a busy household, and I'm no different. So I'm going to share with you my food journey for the past 10 years. I'm going to share with you the many vegetarian recipes that I've fine-tuned. I do hope you'll enjoy the show. Today we are preparing a traditional South Indian favorite known as green banana curry, also called Radhika Gounden. And in the Western world, it's called plantain curry. So let's get started. Ginger paste, turmeric, mustard seeds, sugar, spicy green chili, curry leaf for flavor, some chopped dhania for garnish, some salt, sliced banana, and oil. So while our oil heats up, I'm going to add in a little bit of mustard seeds. Now you want these mustard seeds to pop a little bit because it will infuse the oil and give a lovely flavor to it. So you'll notice when the oil is hot and it starts to pop. We're going to add a little bit of turmeric to color the curry. Like most curries, need some curry leaf for flavor. And I'm going to toss it about, and if you're a fan of ginger, this is the time you add in your ginger paste, just a little bit. And I'm also adding now every Indian household's favorite spicy green chili, because you know you can't go wrong with some chili. So what I've done here, and this is an important tip, when you're slicing your bananas, you need to make sure they're evenly sliced, and they should be actually quite thin, because there's a tendency with green banana curry to cook on the outside and the inside is still quite raw. So that it's important. Now there are many types of banana curry. Today we are making a nice gooey gravy style banana curry. So I'm going to add that to our mixture. So I'm going to let this sizzle for a while. It's going to fry with the spicy chili, the aromatic curry leaf. It's smelling very nice. So there's a lovely golden color. I'm just going to add my lid in here so it toasts a little bit more. So that's my cherry tomatoes ground to a pulp going in. You must know you can't use too much, because otherwise you're going to change the color, and that's not what we want. We want the nice yellow color of the bananas to shine through, not the tomatoes. So now that it's cooking nicely, I'm going to add in a little bit. I would say for this sort of curry, you're looking at least a cup and a half of water. A cup and a half, but don't pour all in at the same time. What you don't want is a stew. So that's done. We're going to leave this to cook with all these lovely flavors, and the water is going to infuse with the banana and make it gooey with a nice thick gravy is going to develop. You'll see as it progresses yourself that it's going to really get in there and add so much to the texture of the curry. You must know the green banana was like thin but raw and hard, but by the end of it, if you follow the recipe, it's going to be lovely green banana, gooey and very gravyish, which we all as South Indians know. We like to lick our hands when we eat our food. So yes, so there it goes. Now, while most cooks tend to add their salt at the beginning of their curry, I like to leave my salt towards the end when it's almost done. I find you have a better idea of how much salt to add. So make sure you add enough and you give it a nice toss, so it's not just the top of your pot that gets flavored with the salt. Make sure I'm using a coarse ground one. And whenever you're using a bit of tomato in any curry, it's always nice to add a little bit of sugar, because not only does it reduce the acidity of the tomato, it enhances the flavor of the curry. And for those that suffer with arthritis or rheumatism, too much tomato is not a good thing. So we're going to close this now and let this simmer for a little while before we start our plating. So there you have it, green banana curry, also known as varakai kodumba, plantains, served today with the traditional South Indian coconut rice known as tangai sadam. Do enjoy.
From those delectable treats to something more serious, the practice of fasting is a major part of Hinduism and can range from light restriction to extreme abstention. Ekadasi is seen as a wonderful opportunity for all spiritual practitioners to intensify their devotional service and come closer to Lord Krishna. In order to better facilitate increased bhakti, Ekadasi is a time of reduced worldly affairs. The Sri Sri Radha Radhanath Temple of Understanding provides us with a greater significance.
I joined ISKCON more than 40 years ago, and I lived in the temple, and I engaged in propagation activities, organizing festivals, organizing the temple, and so forth. Lord Vishnu, out of his great compassion for all those who are suffering in this material world, created from his own body the deity of Ekadasi. Ekadasi itself means 11. So when we speak about the lunar Ekadasi, we mean the 11th day after the new moon and the 11th day after the full moon. Now the interesting part is that when Papa Purusa, the personality of sinful activities, saw this, he became very afraid, and he saw that the influence, what a big powerful influence Shri Ekadasi was having, and he felt that very soon all the sinful living entities will go back to the spiritual world, and then that will be the end of him. He will be destroyed. And feeling like this, he approached Lord Vishnu and he said to him, I am very afraid of this personality of Ekadasi because due to her I will be completely destroyed in a very short time. And I am also one of your creations. And I have been fleeing out of fear of her to every place in the universe, but I cannot find a place where I can take shelter. Speaking like this, Papa Purusa then fell at the feet of Lord Vishnu and began to cry. Then Lord Vishnu, he laughingly said to Papa Purusha, you do not have to worry. I will tell you of a place where you can go to and where you will not be impeded by the deity of Ekadasi. He said, on these 2 days, on the lunar Ekadasi days, every month, you can take shelter of grains. So it is from that time that those who are very serious about putting an end to all their suffering within this material world and who want to go back home, who are spiritually inclined and want to go back home, back to Godhead, they very seriously take this instruction and they don't eat grains on Ekadasi days.
So we have learned to adapt majority of the meals with Ekadashi ingredients, and my children's favorite is the zucchini boats. This halloumi is accompanied with the peanut dip. It's peanuts and mint crushed together to give a delicious chutney that accompanies the halloumi. This is our favorite and famous Ekadashi cheesecake. The base is made with desiccated coconut. The filling is with cream cheese and fresh cream.
Hinduism is a religion of vast diversity with different philosophical views and religious practices. Hindus across the country celebrate the Thaipusam Kavady, an important religious festival dedicated to the Hindu deity Lord Murugan. People take a vow to offer a Kavadi to Lord Murugan to avert calamity. Sadhana ventured off to the Meerbank Sri Parasati Alayam to discover the deeper meaning of the lesser-known Chitra Paravum Kavadi.
Yeah, this part of the COVID time, but a lot of difficulties, but still the worship is important for everybody to get better. Now, at the moment now, we did Thaipusam Kavadi and Chitraparam Kavadi, but without devotees. But what we did, our temple media group together, we worked together, we did very, very good Kavadi for our public, our people.
So in March last year, we started to have our virtual prayers. So we started with the Chitra Paravam Kavadi. But then we went one step forward to ensure that devotees understood what they were doing at home. Because most of them that come to the temple, they follow what Gurukul Sankaran is saying.
When we scream in the Kavadi, we travail Muruganukku, the victorious Lord Arogara. And during the pandemic, we are missing all of that. And I think prayer plays a very important role, and technology as well, in helping people to reach out and to see and to at least rejoice with what they would usually do.
We end off today with a quote stated by Radhanath Swami. The essence of Hinduism is the same essence of all true religions. Bhakti or pure love for God and genuine compassion for all beings. From the Sadhana team, may you keep shining your beautiful divine light into the world. Om Shanti.